pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board members have received the minutes of the 26th board meeting. I ask for one for approval, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the June meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Moving on to personnel.
First personnel item, hiring our office secretary position, Lindsay Hunke, looking for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve Lindsay Hunke.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Second is a position of study hall / marketing position we're going to utilize. That's Allison Stills. Approval.
I'll make a motion to approve Allison Stills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Need approval for Carolyn Marks' resignation.
I'll make a approval for Carolyn Marks' resignation.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And then replacing that position is Carrie Allen Dykstra as that paraprofessional.
I'll make a motion to approve Carrie as a paraprofessional.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Need approval for Michelle Moretti resignation.
I'll make a motion to approve Michelle Moretti's resignation.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Approval for Joe Clifford as the varsity cross-country coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Joe Clifford as the varsity cross-country coach.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And then approval for the same, Joe Clifford, to be the junior high cross-country coach.
I'll make a motion to approve him for the junior high cross-country coach also.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Alyssa Sikora as the assistant for cross-country.
I'll make a motion to approve Alyssa Sikora for cross-country system.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And one more assistant for cross-country, Matt Wellsand.
I'll make a motion to approve Matt Wilson, assistant cross-country crew.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved.
It's all on personnel. The claim docket and balance sheet run from 6 to 18.
Any questions by the board in the claim docket? Now I ask for a motion for approval.
I'll approve the claim docket.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Moving on to the balance sheet for information purposes. Are there any questions by the board on the balance sheet?
No.
Continue moving on. Are there any public comments keeping on the agenda?
I have a question. Looking on the webpage, is there a current schedule that's on the webpage for Tri-Township as far as school year and events that are happening?
We got 23, 24 up there, don't we?
Academic calendar, I know is on there for 23, 24.
Okay.
As far as like the monthly ones, is that the one you're asking about?
What I'm looking for is the calendar that I went through, it showed, of course, like if there was an early dismissal, which I have a question about, it showed the calendar days for vacations and things like that, but what I failed to find was parent-teacher conferences. Do we have dates for those? Yeah.
We do. So that should be going out. They'll be added to like the calendar that's on there, but then also we'll have, I think we're working on a calendar itself, like a paper calendar.
Okay,
So
so we will
they'll-
further back, they'll have in-person parent-teacher
Yes,
conferences?
yeah, and it's actually gonna be the week of fall break. That's when they'll be. So that Monday and Tuesday, because we're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this year. That's what we did.
Yeah, it would be that more traditional type that we used.
Used to have before
years back.
COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, thank you. Do you know, because I know there was talk about the bathrooms and the upgrades and things like that, have you had a chance to look into the CFM draws on the exhaust fans in the bathrooms that are in the nurse's office, for example?
No, but I still have notes from where we spoke about that, and that'll be part of the conversation that Brian has and we have with Performance Services
Okay,
to get that kind of included in the scope of work once that fully gets decided.
okay, and that'll be compliant with the ASHRAE standards, correct? With the goal with that?
Which standards?
So ASHRAE, that's the American, it's basically your HVAC standards.
Oh, okay.
For the United States, basically. And
Okay.
so making sure, because they released updates after COVID especially, which was what some of that money was to be spent for, was to making sure you have enough CFM coming in and you're pulling enough out for maintaining a healthy environment, which we know that's one of your goals
Okay.
that you definitely want to have.
Yeah.
Because the reason here for some of these questions, ladies and gentlemen, is my concern for my children. Okay, that we've had some rough go-arounds here at the school for almost now the past 2 years. All right, my son's been diagnosed with a medical condition, and I've had the school just flat out, particularly the nurse, refuse to comply with the orders from the doctor. And my son has felt bullied. My son does not feel safe here. And we've had lots of conversations, Mr. Shepherd, Mr. McMahon, and I'm feeling that we aren't progressing in the direction that's best for my children. So I'm here as a supporter of my children because of my concerns that I do have. Some of the things, my child was not allowed to have a Chromebook at the beginning of the start of the school year, and that was shortly after we went through the whole Save Lacrosse. That was told that there wasn't enough money to buy a Chromebook that worked for him. And so my child missed tests, my child missed homework assignments. Even this past school year, my children were sent home without papers because we're telling us they didn't have enough money to make photocopies of things. But other kids in the class had that. There's so many concerns that I have. Extended time out of the classroom for my children. My kids' grades suffered because of that. I'm concerned too with the school as a whole, but I don't know how many of you guys have the opportunity during the day to come and see what goes on. But we've got a lot of early dismissals beforehand. I've had reports from other parents voicing their concerns to me that it's almost a free-for-all with kids running wild and loose around school buses with no adult supervision. So those are things that I'm kind of concerned about. I had a school nurse, after my concern with her professionalism, I refused to sign over protected health information. And what did she do? She called DCS on us that day and threatened to have my babies taken away from me. She's demanded that I forward to her medical diagnoses, slamming her hand down on the table, trying to yell at me. If she's doing that to a 46-year-old woman, what is she doing to my 9-year-old boys? My boys were mentioning too of another teacher threatening to beat them with a paddle if they were to disclose what was going on here in the school. That's wrong. All right, I've got a notebook full of violations to where I had another person refuse to let my kids come in to after school care because they did not arrive right at the time at 3 o'clock because they wanted to try out for drama club. She refused to let them in. I was over an hour away that she was going to make them sit outside until I threatened to call the sheriff's office and that she could explain why she was endangering 2 9-year-olds sitting outside by themselves.
Mrs. Adams, we definitely respect, and our kids mean the world to us. These are things I think we take offset as not on the agenda, so we want to make sure, but at the same time, we support the things you're saying. We want to make sure to investigate this.
Yeah.
So I promise that we'll listen to you, we'll find out some more information on this, but just in this setting, for the purpose of this meeting, I don't know. It's not on the agenda.
Right,
Make
no,
sure we stick
and I
with the plan.
appreciate that, and I understand, and I agree. My plan is if that's happening to my children, it's happening to ours.
No, we'd love to hear, I'm not love, we would like to hear more, so we can address your concerns, and these are things we are aware of it. I know there's probably conversations happening internally, and we'll make sure we investigate further on that.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, we weren't made aware of it, but I'd like to hear also, so I apologize.
Well, I mean, I do feel compelled because of being recorded. Very little of that is verifiable,
Well,
in my opinion. And so, because publicly,
I don't know, I
Our
understand
school-
what you're
I know.
saying, I just feel like we
I
should have
just
been
want to
made
trust
aware prior.
everyone, yeah,
Understood.
that, you know, the school nurses really done a fantastic job for us. And Penny and I have a good relationship, so we've had this same conversation on multiple occasions. So I just want to throw that in the here and now, that there would certainly be a lot of disagreement, and Penny would acknowledge that, so that's a nice set on that. Tim's right, we'll move along for now, and I'm sure they will be accessible to you.
Any further public comments this evening? Okay, now we'll move on to interim contract for superintendent.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so what that is, I'm sure that might be confusing to some people in attendance, but I'm in the process of accepting another job back in my hometown of North Judson as their superintendent. And I say process because that will not be finalized until on or approximately August 15th. But tonight, we have Gib Crimmins is here with us, and Gib is, if the board so approves this evening, will be taking the interim position here for a 2 to 3 day a week process to keep Tri-Township moving forward in the short term. So that's what I'm seeking approval to enter into a contract.
we're very well who we are, and I've also, of course, spent a lot of time investigating. Everybody talks very, very favorably of yourself and what you've done within your superintendency. So if you would mind kind of just for the public to
Yeah,
be more aware of your.
I'm glad to help out. Yeah, I've helped Kelly with budget preparation the last few years some, and I've worked with Guy at North Jackson and here. I was superintendent at Tri-County School Corporation for 19 and a half years, which is Remington and Walken, so 60 miles from here. So, yeah, and then I've been co-owner of Administrator Assistants, where we help schools all over the state solve problems, including interims. There's lots of problems throughout the state. So that's what our business is all about. But, so yeah, I served as an interim at Eastern Pulaski 2 or 3 years ago. I served a couple other interims, so I'm used to doing it. But when we come in, we can't do everything in 2 or 3 days, but we try. We're not just coming in just to sign papers. We're coming in to give you leadership and look at ways to move forward. So looking forward to it. So Tri-County was a small school, just like Tri-Township was a small school, but what I often said, big schools try to figure out what they can do to act like they're small. They have pods here and pods there, but small schools have to figure out what they can do to overcome smallness, because there's good and bad about smallness. But we've got to highlight the good things and run with it, because there's a lot of things that you can do at a small school that you can't think about doing at a large school, from the personal standpoint, things like that. So I look forward to it. And we're going to be working with Kelly a little bit here the rest of this month, and then and we will be talking back and forth. A lot of times you can spend hours trying to figure something out, or you can call the previous guy and ask a question in 5 minutes. We have a good relationship, and he can fill me in all
a lot of things like that.
And none of that takes away from what Kelly has done for the corporation. He's done things that, I think probably one of the most challenging periods of time for our corporation. So, I mean, he's done a lot of good things that get that were most, just as we change and grow and everything changes around us with education, we've surrounded some really challenging situations, and he's been there to support us through those. That I think I can speak for all of us before that we're grateful for the things that he has done, and hopefully he continues to find what's right for himself and his family, and along with his career.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm happy to be able to hand this off to someone that will definitely do a good job for you, and most importantly for the staff and kids. I think we are in a nice position. We've got some good things coming up to make decisions on, and it was not an easy decision to leave. And so that's a testament to this school system and how close-knit we are. It's in many ways, well, I always tell everyone that you have your family at home, but you have your work family too, and this work family has been very important to me. So I appreciate the opportunity, and we'll still stay in contact, obviously for a couple more weeks in an official capacity, but going forward unofficially as well.
So with that, I put a motion to the board for the approval of Kip Crimmins interim contract for superintendent.
I'll make a motion to approve, give Crimmins for the.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
I actually, at this moment, on number 8, salary pay schedules for 23-24, I don't have any new information, so we're gonna move along past that item for tonight. Takes us to number 9, the student handbook. And Brian has put the next two things together. The athletic handbook is also inside the student handbook. So we'll approve both separately. I know that, and we found out this afternoon that he had attempted to get changes information out to you, and it looks like we had email issue for some that it went to spam. So we can take time and.
I got it at 11:30 last night.
Oh, okay.
Good job. Appreciate it.
Are there any questions by the board or a motion for approval on either student and or athletic handbooks? Do we have a motion to the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the student handbook updates for this year.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Then a separate motion for athletics.
I'll make a motion to approve the athletics handbook.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
The last item we have tonight, as you've heard us talk about, Brian and I have spent time working on some shared programming and services with New Durham West Middle Schools. So we'll be passing some students back and forth so that we can expand offerings for both schools. So we have a memorandum of understanding here that we need board approval for, and then I'll need a signature from Ted on that, if the board agrees.
Do we have a motion by the board?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. We got the principal report.
I don't have much tonight, this month of July, we're getting all the rooms deplaned and now we're getting, this week started getting ready, classrooms ready for the coming school year, so moving books, new textbooks, and getting classrooms ready on the elementary end, so Cheyenne and Katie have done a great job, and Scott, and our 3 high school boys have done a great job. We got the basketball hoops out outside. So worked on that last week. So the boys got those up last week. And we got it configured where they can't be lowered on their own, so we don't have a bunch of, high school kids going out there and playing on a 7-foot rim and those things coming down. So we got it configured, so we'll have access to them where we can unlock them for recess time and lower them for our kids, so. But yeah, just getting everything ready for the upcoming school year. It's been the month of July so far.
I ended up giving my superintendent portion earlier. Again, we've done a lot of really good things in the 5 years that I've been here. And so I feel good about that. And you guys have been good to work with. So I feel like for me, Tri-Township, I'm leaving it better than I found it. It was in good shape when I found it, but I hope I'm leaving it better. And yeah, that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye. We appreciate what you've done, Kelly.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.